Hi, welcome to a new Plug and Groove video. My name is John. Skippy Limcool. Welcome. Hey, so have we got a killer library for you guys today? This is a library by Bob Dedes. He's done demos for me for many years. He released a library last year called Renegade, which has all sorts of cinematic, trailer-oriented sounds, as well as guitars and basses and synths and stadium vocals. This is a whole different game. This is ambience and chill, and people are flipping out. I'm thrilled to show it to you, so come along. Isn't that beautiful? Now, before I show you the library, let me give you a quick demo of what you can do with this library. These are called flow patches. They have this motion. It's every note sampled, performed in a unique way. Bob performed these, and it's amazing. There's really wonderful energy to it. Some of them actually will have, if you listen to this, it plays, it stops. So you can use these as these breathing elements. And if you go down here to Unify Layer, you can now click any other patch. Let's choose an aura, and let's turn it down a little bit. Now, this lovely energy. Let's go down. Let's add something like, these are guitar effects. There's guitars. There's harmonics from guitars. Let's actually have a harmonic. That may be pretty. Let's say rainbow harmonics. Isn't that nice? So that's just 3 patches layered. And let's do this. Let's split it. Play C. All you do is you right click on the boxes so you can just play a note. Let's go to the basses. Let's add something like solidity. And then let's add deep space. And these, I'm just going to right click on the bar, and I can drag them so that I can set them to be splits without playing any notes. Turn them down since their basses are really loud. Look at that. Just like that, we have, in fact, here. I'll save this, and there will be a link. Let's call this, let's go save. This is a ZZ patch. These are bonus free patches that I'm making. There's another one I'm going to give you as well. I'll show you in a second. ZZ BPM split. Walk through Nirvana. So you know this came from this live stream. Well, it's not a live stream. We're making the walkthrough video. Save at, oh, I gotta change the composer author to John. Cool. That's me. Save. Now there's another patch called In the Air I Breathe. I just clicked to add it as a layer. I'm gonna go to normal and choose this just to show you another bonus patch. These are both in the video description, links to download. Again, everything you're hearing is this library. There's 230 patches, 10 gigabytes, over 3,000 samples. Majority of the samples are from organic acoustic instruments. The basses, of course, those are synth basses, and there's other things in the library, but for the most part, Now, there's a knob right here to add magic, which adds some filtering, and inside of the Unify layer, it turns on 3 other elements. Hello? So you can do breathing in the sounds. And then you can add a really cool drum groove to this and go into a really cool chill urban vibe or lo-fi. So I'm going to show you the library. There's over 15 different categories of sounds. I can't play every patch. We would literally be here with 10 gigabytes of samples. That's an awful lot of sample time. So I'm not going to go through the whole library every patch, but I will give you a really great overview of what you have to work with. Just one more thing. This combines so well. Bob's vibe is different than my vibe. It's all Bob. But if you go like Mega Magic Harp, and you go to some of these and you change this to Unify Layer, and you just choose some of these different BPM pluck patches, for examples. These are really cool. They combine so nicely. And again, since it's Unify, you could click and add all sorts of additional, let's add bunnies and some parallel pressure. Turn these guys down a little bit. So you can build. So, I mean, my gosh. I love Unify. I'm just happy that this exists. There's no place else you can go and create from patches. Look at this. My mind is blown all the time with what we can do. So anyway, all these libraries, they work so well together. So you want to own them all. Let's start. So at the top, we have basses. We're going to change the loading mode back to normal. To start with, we have deep space. Really nice. Just round, warm, hitting the right frequency basses. Some patches you'll notice are made using OBXD, which is a software plugin that is installed with Unify. We have our own custom green skin, but it's OBXD. It's wonderful. So there's all these cool basses, which all you have to do is right click on the bar, set it at B2 so you have a split, and go to here to the BPM ARPs and either change this load mode, or you can just right click on a patch and say load into Unify Layer. And now off you go. Right? Fun stuff. So we're back at normal. Other basses. The one bass I made for the library. Let you get into the dark registers. As you see, we have all sorts of macro knobs. Okay, so lots of basses, bells and whistles. That's because down here in the, where is it at? He's got whistles right here, the Vox, the Whistler. And the pad version of whistles. That's also in our little collective library we're building of free samples. Bob put the whistles into that library as a free bonus. So that's really cool. So again, bells and whistles has those whistles and a bell. Bells. More than just bells. There's a lot going on there. And it's in the samples. There's no effects doing that. I could turn, well, there's no effects except for just a little bit of, here, if we mute the auxiliary bus. It's in the samples. So these are really interesting samples. Nice. And then we get into the BPM ARPs. These are ARPs that have a single tone. They don't have additional melody elements. That would be the BPM sequence. So these you can play chords. And what's nice is you can combine all of these together. Go down here to Unify Layer, choose RS7. And if you open up a Unify Layer, you can go to the knobs, and these are set up for that layer. And he has a macro knob set to sync, which is the rate. So I can slow it down. So play with the macro knobs. There's so much to play with. Okay, let's go back to normal. So we just load one sound. There's some different timing and different. Isn't that nice? So there's 8 of these in total. Magic in the air. Now the BPM sequence, these are really interesting. These are, I did something similar to these in Cloud City, where it's almost like a complete song in some cases. You just play one note. And it will play, and you can kind of hear all of these different 6 layers of sounds and how they work together. Melody parts. chords. Cool, huh? Now, how would you use these? If you want, you can just go up here and bypass the MIDI box on each layer and change its all to MIDI channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once you've done that, they are now separated and listening to separate streams from your sequencer. And now you could use it as if it was a complete songwriting toolkit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the idea. You could set this up just bypassing the MIDI box. And now you have 6 layers of sounds that create this vibe. So these are like song templates in a way, if you want to think about them. Bypass the MIDI box or hold down Option and delete them by just clicking the little bullet while you hold down the Option or the Alt key, and they're gone. Now you can play all 6 layers at once, and you can solo each layer. Right? Find maybe you want that on a different MIDI channel, so I could go over here instead of all. You'd go through and you change these to be MIDI channel 1 or MIDI channel 2. You could group them. So if you wanted 3 of them to play on the same MIDI channel, just set them all to MIDI channel 1. And now all those 3, let's go MIDI channel 1, 1, 1. And if I said MIDI channel 2 and 3 and 4, now only the first 3. Right? So as I play these, think of it that way. These are more like song examples using all these sounds. Hit the solo button on each layer, and if you use the right click, you can turn off the previous solo and turn on the new solo just with a single click. Instead of having to unsolo this and then click this to solo, just use right click. The other thing with this is if you have multiples soloed, you can right click on one and it will unsolo all 3. And this one doesn't really change chords. It just has this nice passage. Just play different notes. It's major, so it won't go to minor. So there's Friends, Night Lapse. And they're all tempo synced. So if I was to go to a different library like Cloud City, let's say let's load a unified drum groove. Off you go. Now I'm sending it to the auxiliary bus, which it's got Chow Matrix is doing this really cool, different variations of the delay, really fun stuff into reverb. Another thing with this library is if you open up Klang Falter and you go to the browser, just so happens that Ambient Dreams has, as you can see, there's these really cool impulse responses, including like rain. Which you can then set the decay so it fades out and it doesn't be quite so long. Right? So there's all sorts of really cool stuff in this library beyond just the patches if you want to play with them. But it's that easy to add a groove. It's all tempo sync. Let's go back to Ambient Dreams. Get back up here to the top. Set this back to normal load. Just if something confuses you with what I'm doing things as clearly as I can. Go back to the video, rewind it, watch this again. If something isn't clear, I'm just right clicking on patches or in most cases, I'm using the mode to change so I can load another patch into this, and that's how I'm getting the drum groove. Okay. Anyway, there's 10 of these. All the sounds of ambient dreams. Right? There's, I took my daughter to go shoot wildflowers, and I announced that in the live stream, and Bob's like, hey, I made a multi for you and your daughter while you're out shooting and looking at wildflowers. So he wrote this little song. Isn't that nice? So if you wanted to build on something like this, it needs a bass, right? And there's basses in this library or other libraries you can use. All you need to do, there's 9 layers, so you'd right click on all 9 layers. We're at 3, 2, 1. Hit a key on your keyboard, which is a key where you want the split to be at. And that way, any notes below that point don't play. And now I could go up here to the basses. Let's say deep space 2, right click, and let's just say add instrument 1, because I don't need all the additional effects and mastering effects. I just want instrument 1, which is the bass, and it adds it, and I can right click up here and drag to set it to B2. Off you go, you know? He's got, if you notice, you hear he has a sniffing sound. Right there. So creative. So that's how you can use these real quickly, just setting one to just right click for all the layers. If it's 1 layer, it's easy. If more layers, it takes a little bit more work. But if you right click on these key ranges, you can then just play a key on your keyboard and Unify will stop that sound at that point. So that way you can put another sound below it. Okay, so let's go to the drones. These are sounds that just set a mood. Just play one. And then on other tracks in your sequencer, you would start to add other sounds on different tracks. If you wanted to do it in real time in Unify and you're like, okay, I like that as a starting point, I want to add more to this. So I could right click on the top note and say, give me till B2. So then I could go over here to the guitar harmonics, or the keys. Let's try emotion. Let's start playing. Just let it sit. It does all this magical stuff in the sounds automatically. It's wonderful. I mean, for hours and hours, I have played this library already, and It's very special. So this has fire samples. He's got some ambiences down here. These, where's it at? Special effects, rain, fire, bubbles, stuff like that. These Koshi chimes are really cool. There's these chimes that again, one track of this, another track with maybe the ambient or the lo-fi guitar or something. Solar fields. And if you need to, you can hold down Option or Alt, and that will turn up all the layers together. Just, you know, again, a few more hours go away. Okay, guitar. These are not your typical guitar. Just like everything else in this library, everything has a unique Bob Dedes approach to the sound. So now, if you want, you could go over here and look at the layers. Solo. Maybe add the auxiliary effects. If you want, you can have the guitar just by itself. It's there as a separate layer, but there's these 3 other layers which means this guitar could be any guitar. I could go to Ample Sound, let's say. Let's get the Martin. Let's add that, and let's unsolo everybody. So now I have the Ample Sound. It's that easy to replace just one layer with any plugin you own. I could say, I want to use Keyscape. So let's go Keyscape. We're up to date. Let's say we want to use the new double felt grand. Easy. Any plugin you own can easily be put into any layer. And now it's in this really magical sound. It's not just this by itself. That's nice. But Bob has prepared all this. Isn't that nice? All right. So that's just one of the guitar patches. I won't do that on everyone. Echoes in the Rain. Now, I'll show you one more thing. If you want, go over here, say New Instrument, Empty Layer. And at the very bottom of the list, it will add an empty sine wave. Let's say we wanted to add that Ample Sound guitar, the Martin, to this. Boom, done. And it's an up an octave too high, right? So over here's the transpose. Minus 12. Here's a really cool trick. Say that ambience is too loud. Hold down the Option or Alt. Turn this down, and now go to the primary sounds that you wanted to be the stars of the sound, the two guitars. Turn them up. And now those elements are more in the background a little bit. Isn't that nice? So you can add to these by simply going to the little plus layer button, empty layer, or you can make your own presets. As you see here, you could go to the, say, the Guru sampler. These all come with Unify. You could say, we have a guitar here. Let's say the Martin steel string. So we're adding that on top of the ample sound and on top of the original guitar. Turn this down, and let's go over here to the plus button and go to Unify Modulation Chorus. Slow it down. Add some effects. It's very easy to add to what is here because Unify allows you to work with up to 24 layers. So as you can see, the processors are just chiming away. I got all the power you need because of how Unify works. Each one of these is a separate layer on the processors, so it's not taxing them. Lo-fi guitar. This has a wobble to it, a tape vibe. So for all of you lo-fi fans, and if you want it darker, just go to the macro knob for the cutoff. And then maybe open up the Guru sampler, and right here is the filter envelope. Make this longer. You hear birds, things in the sounds. So there you go. All sorts of fun ways to play with these. Okay. These are more of the colors. So there's additional ear candy added to these. Some are complex. This is 7 layers. Others are not as complex. Just 1 layer. Okay, harmonics. And a real fun thing with these, because he did sample, there are so many samples in each one of these. Look at how many samples there are. So if you go to the shift parameter, it really is effective because there's so many samples. And then move the sample start. and move the sample start to 005, and then you get rid of clicks. So all sorts of ways to play with these samples. Just by using the shift parameter. My gosh, there's so many of these. Right? Even ukulele. And you hear a lot of effects. That's because there is on auxiliary buses the delays in the chorus. So if you go over here to auxiliary 2 and bring it down, and then he has a clang falter doing a reverb on the layer. Just bypass it if you want. Totally dry. So different ways of applying to use these. My gosh, mutations for mutes. Again, it's all vibe. And again, you could bypass the delays. For more normal, it's kind of a thing. If you don't want quite so much ambience. Right? Now, these guitar special effects, these are elements. Consider these kind of like the Mega Magic libraries I've done. These are just an element that you could layer with something else. So if we went over here to Unify Layer as our loading mode, you can even go to the standard library to say the guitars. It's just a simple guitar to load, right? So go over here to guitar. Let's say maybe DI Dreaming. Right? Really nice for layering with any kind of additional sounds or by themselves, just if you want this like element that just has a really cool presence to it. It's great for that as well. Oh my gosh, there's so, we got a long ways to go. I hope you're having fun. I'm having fun. So here's repeaters. I love this one. Again, special effects means by itself, just as an element, you could then build on other tracks, other sounds, or layer it with something. Your choice. All right, there's 4 of those special effects. Then we get to the keyboard. These are like non-piano key because he has a separate category. He wanted the pianos to be separate. So the piano comes separate. So these are like key, but not acoustic piano. So right? So all sorts of different examples of really nice layer it with a piano and it's lovely. Key meaning basically you just play it like a keyboard, like you would play a keyboard sound. Swarming Mallets is a little different. Right? More plucky, but still play it like a keyboard. Okay. Vessel, we'll just shut it for a second. Beautiful. Now, these are crazy. Oh my gosh. Motion flow. These I showed you at the beginning. They have these wonderful. There's just this motion to all of these. They flow in different ways. Because it has so many samples, even for this sound design type of a sound, that means shift can do some really cool things, like take it down an octave. What happens is it's at the same pitch, but the samples are now playing slower because it's using higher samples to play the low notes. So it's like very speed, something like that, you know? And if you take it the other way, it'll stay at the same pitch. It's playing the samples faster. Very, very cool. Which means if it's playing the samples faster by using shift, it will get to those different breathing points sooner. It's really nice. They're all looped, but different lengths for the loops. So that means that as it goes, it starts to get more diffused. At the beginning, it's kind of together. Now it starts to become more really, really cool. So there's so many of these. I'll just play one note so you can hear what one note's doing. So it's performed. He performed these with ambiances and so forth in the samples. If I play an octave higher, it's performed as well, but it's a different rhythm. So the two together, they just like work in this really magically cool, unique way. So you play a whole chord. Again, there's all of these samples to make this one sound. So you can use shift to make it play the parts faster. But not to tempo, it's just playing them faster. Or slow it down. It takes on a whole different life of itself when it's really slowed down. You hear it almost becoming granularized in a way. It's really cool. And with these, what I find works really well is go to the standard library, to the pads. Pick some sort of a nice pad to put into this to give it a little bit more substance underneath, like the mellow jaws, like B. Load into a new Unify layer, turn it down. Maybe open this up, the macro knobs. Maybe got to go to Guru Sampler itself. See how that just, without it, with it. Let's do this. I'll give you another bonus patch. Over here, I want to make it less velocity sensitive. A little bit less key tracking. Okay, so we go save, ZZ, pad, flow. Let's do this. Warm, Twilight. Okay, save as, save. Again, there will be a link in the video description for this with all these bonus patches we're making. So if I get to the Ambient Dreams library at the end of the list, these 3 bonus patches, the ZZ patches, will be a .guru file. You just drag it over. There'll be .unify files, so they will load without any problem. You can edit them if you want, in fact. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get back to our flows. Where are we at? Here we go. So all of these are just beautiful. Beautiful. Again, you hear that there's room to add other tracks that would have the low end and maybe a melody thing, or you could layer things to do that here. Again, there's just motion and flow. There's also a cutoff knob. So fun, so fun. All right, so these flows are lovely. No hurry to go anywhere, you know? Very cool. Just let it do its thing. So fun. Okay, now there's additional motion-esque types of patches using acoustic instruments. Somehow he used brass to make something that's like reminiscent of a pipe organ. There's a lot on this modulation wheel. Like, layer that with a sampled library of real pipe organ. That would be really lovely. But there's swells. It's like you hear the brass element, but it's not like your typical brass library of swells. It's all sound design for ambience. That'd be great to layer that with real brass. Granular orchestra. This is where he's taken numerous patches from the library and combined them together to make one nice. So the expression lets you do all sorts of lovely things. You have volume controls over the brass, strings, winds. Good stuff. These are mallets that are performed to do a really beautiful swarm effect. Lovely. And these could be layered with all sorts of components that you've heard in this library. These, the BPM, these ARPs. Right click, say load into a Unify layer. Right? Magical. Now, I'm going to show you another trick. Let's say we wanted to add a pump house to do pulsing to that motion mallet swarm to match the ARP part, right? Well, the patch for the swarm was these first three layers, and then when I added the ARP, that's this Unify layer right here, right? So if I want, I can go over here and I could say delete, or I can hold down Option Alt and click these and delete them. So now I just have, the ARA2 inside of the motion mallet swarm patch, but the motion mallet swarm is missing because I removed them. So now I could go down here to these motion and right click and say load this as a new Unify layer. And now it's back, but it's a single layer. So then I could go over here to the plus. I can say Dynamics, Pump House. Let's reverse it. Let's go presets. I want to just have it saw down. And if you want to get more complex, go to the presets. I love to use the numbered presets. Choose 4 steps down. And if you want to like slow it down, go over here to your timing and set to half bar. Then click on the curves to give it some breathing. Right? So there's all sorts of ways to play with these sounds. If you want to get to where, I could have added 3 pump house effects to each of these 3 layers, but that's a lot of work. With Unify, it's really easy to say, delete those components and just give me the, as a layer, 1 layer, so that way I can apply effects to it. I could add distortion. I could do all sorts of cool things to this. So I said distortion, and I made this like some cool curve or something. Let's say like, let's high pass filter it. Right? All sorts of ways to play with these. So that's just one tip. There's so many ways to use Unify. I know it's a lot, but it's whatever you think up, you can do. It's wonderful. Here's more of the motion patches. Again, these just kind of sit and have this lovely And then they go away, then they come back. And if you right click on a couple of these, let's have the gestures. We have brass and the string quintet. Let's turn them down. Maybe let's pan them to the right and left. So here's 3. Maybe not quite so wide. Right? So easy to add layers and play with these sounds in cool ways. These are triple basses, so this is lower notes. Nice motion. Again, Option or Alt. Okay, motion Vox for the last Vox. This is using the different, as we'll see in a little bit when you get down here to the Vox patches, these text voices. There's all these really, really cool. This is a layer of a handful of those that Bob picked out. That's Bob singing, by the way. Lovely, lovely stuff. Overblown. So all sorts of motion elements. Lovely. All right, piano. This is Bob's mellow piano. And this is like, there's no piano I've played like this quite. And if you want, you can turn up the room, turn up the key releases. Creaky chairs. All sorts of additional noises using trigger box for release samples, all sorts of stuff. Now this is Bob's mellow piano with clouds. Clouds are down here, and you have a clouds volume. Awesome. Again, it's all about ambient dreams. So this will take you into dreamland better than melatonin. That's a lot of notes. Now, Bob's Piano in Space. This is a light version, so there's no release samples, there's no room noise. It's just the piano. And if you want, you can add more release, add more reverb, add more delay to make it more spacey. There's a bonus patch that I showed you that was based off this piano. In the air I breathe is that simple, mellow piano in space. With all these other elements from the library. Again, these are bonus patches. There's 3 of them I've made that are in the video description. It's a .guru file you can download. Okay. Other piano, we got glass. We have Grand Dreams. Right? Now we get to special effects, and there's the solo and the duo version. Solo is what Bob originally did. And these are just elements you can combine with the piano. So when I was doing I just did a little bit of finalizing here and there. I noticed that it'd be nice if there was like one of these where it had a piano. So I took the Church Steinway from the standard library, just the soft version. So their solo is the sound effect, just the layer. And then the duo is with a piano. Right? So I did that for all 3 of these. Love this one. If you go to the filter cutoff, a little bit more ambience you can work with. And then the duo has it with the piano. Lovely. Okay. Now, scenes. Oh my goodness. These are kind of similar to the BPM sequence, but these are something you can play that are all set up. These beautiful thematic texture environments. I don't know how else to describe these. I've never seen a library have this concept applied to it, so very cool. Each one of these has a different theme. You can see that he's even got key zones and ranges for the different layers. Mantras is cool. It's got these vocal samples up here. Right? I mean, explore these. Right? Sanctuary. It's almost rude to stop because they want to grow and evolve and just set this beautiful world for you to enjoy. Right? Special effects. These are different sounds, rains. Softly in the background, maybe for, you know, when you need to wake up your ambient family. And then some synth elements. This one is using OBXD. Some are using samples. Some are using the built-in synths. Which again, if you take something like that, even these scenes, right click, say load into the Unify layer. This gives you something to work with to make them a little bit more complex if you want. Guru signs. It's nice to have elements like this to go along with all the, it's all in one library, right? So nice. Orbits. Right. This is one of the unique things with OBXD, like the original Oberheims, you have panning per oscillator. So if that was really wide, if you want, you can go down here, take each oscillator, bring it in, collapse it a little bit. So here's not so wide and wide. So you can do that with each one of these patches. If you want. In fact, this one's not quite as wide. So that's how you would adjust that if you wanted to. Synth leads. Smoking mirror. Right. Now we come to textures. There is an, oh my goodness, bunch of textures. I'm going to show you some of these. These are really to be explored. You have very stark like this, or you have majestic right next to it. Or underscore. Oh, wrong notes. Sorry. Or you have underscore. Has motion, kind of a flow vibe. Very unique. If you want to add the emotive for cellos and the contrabass. Okay. Brass. Here's some swells. Very, very cool. Marimbas. Kind of like the swarms, but just a single element. Vibraphone. Nice. Xylophone. So even though it says it's a uke, it's not. It's a cool texture, motion. Here's voices. Solo female. Nice. And again, they have a flow. Everything in this library is all about flow and just life of its own. Really interesting. The voice swells are really cool. And there's 8 of them. Oh, this is lovely. Some beautiful swirling voices, harmonica. Mellow, lovely. Winds, overtones. Plastic flutes. Right? Mixed voices. So you have that type, you have colors, where now it's combining all of those layers, the different swells across the keyboard. Like I showed earlier, the whistler. And it first calls up as a mono patch, but if you wait and go up here and choose this to be polyphonic, a little loud. And you can play chords if you want. And then the pad. So that's the library. Down here, these Z patches are patches I created. In my time finalizing the library and going through everything, I came up with some nice, my kind of patches. So we have a little bit of fun with different elements and some of these are loading multiple gigabytes of samples, which means when you go to some of these and you choose to load it, you might need to sit for a second. By the way, this noise, the hi-hats, is actually a noise sample with the LFO. And then a filter sweep, slowly bringing it down. You could do more if you want. Have fun. This is when you can play short. But if you hold them out, you have this lovely growth, cool pads with the There's one really cool BPM sequence. I'll tell you about this one and how to play it. The right hand is playing one of the BPM sequence patches. So you just play one note. You got guitars and everything. And then the left hand is the bass. So you learn the chords. G minor to E flat. Now C minor, D, and F. And what's fun, since this is using MIDI box, you could start the bass without the chords. It has started the sequencer for the guitar part. Not from the beginning, but from wherever it was. So now. So that's how you play that. And then there's these patches that we made in our walkthrough. BPM on the bass for the split, the keyboard sound that I made just before starting to make this video. So these are available for you to download. The patches will only work if you own this library, of course, because the patches are just saying, hey, give me these samples. So you have to have the library installed first before these bonus patches will work. But all you need is Unify. It's so cool. We're 3 years into Unify, and we keep pushing our envelope farther. Bob really did a great job of finding a solid concept and making a library that just, I'm playing this with goose pimples, you know? That's how it is. That's the kind of library it is. So after your hectic days, to come home and play something like this makes the world seem just a little bit nicer. So enjoy. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Bob for making such a beautiful library for us to all get to enjoy. It's awesome. And have a great time with this. And we will see you in a future video.